If you work in tech, you probably have a colleague exactly like this. They have an ordinary name, they write decent code, their stand-up updates are completely unremarkable, and their performance reviews are fine. If you asked around, your team would tell you they live in a place like Phoenix, Arizona. But the person actually typing those Slack messages is sitting in a rented office in northeastern China, connecting through a commercial VPN, and they are a direct employee of the North Korean state. This chart illustrates a massive shadow economy, pulling in an estimated $800 million a year. Investigators tracked one single cell of remote workers that managed to get itself hired at 8 different American software companies in a matter of months. You might expect a breach of this magnitude to rely on complex code, but there's no zero-day exploit here, no phishing email, and no hidden malware dropper. The entire attack surface is the job application itself. Every step that follows, human resources, procurement, and payroll, is actually functioning exactly the way it was designed to. This data funnel shows the industrialized output of just one 22-person cell. Over a brief window, they submitted nearly 167,000 job applications. That massive volume squeezed down into 21,000 interviews, yielding exactly 76 job offers. That is a hit rate of 0.05%, which would ruin a normal recruiting agency. Here, it is the entire strategy. Because the applications are machine-generated, rejection costs the operatives absolutely nothing. The sheer math guarantees the offers will eventually land. Once they secure an interview, they have to pass a background check. They do this by acquiring a real American citizen. They buy or rent actual names, genuine social security numbers, and clean credit histories from people willing to look the other way. Then comes the live video interview. Investigators have watched these operatives use real-time face swap software during calls to mask their appearance, while a language model on a second monitor feeds them the perfect technical answers to read back. The identity checks out because the identity is real. The technical screening goes smoothly because the answers are generated instantly. The traditional hiring process does exactly what it is supposed to do. It validates the candidate and issues an offer. Getting the offer triggers the one physical requirement in an otherwise digital fraud. The company needs to mail the new hire a corporate laptop, and they certainly will not ship it to Pyongyang. So they ship it to places like Litchfield Park, Arizona. The operatives rely on domestic facilitators who run what federal agents call laptop farms out of their homes. These facilitators receive the machines, plug them into remote access switches, and let the overseas worker drive the computer as if they were sitting right there at the desk. Despite pulling in salaries that can approach $300,000, the individual sitting at the keyboard sees almost none of it. Working 16-hour days in monitored dormitories, they remit up to 95% of their earnings back to the state under the guise of patriotism. Those funneled corporate salaries flow straight through a web of shell companies and crypto wallets to finance North Korea's heavily sanctioned weapons program. The objective has expanded. With valid internal credentials, an operative transitions from a simple payroll fraud to an active security threat. Investigators have documented embedded workers orchestrating $900,000 crypto thefts and stealing proprietary data to extort their employers after being let go. The target list is moving higher up the chain. Major blockchain firms have recently disclosed hiring these operatives, and the FBI is currently investigating a North Korean remote IT worker who appears to have successfully infiltrated a United States federal agency. Organizations trying to fill open engineering roles are inadvertently footing the bill for a hostile state's military apparatus, while actively handing those same operatives direct administrative access to their most sensitive networks. Remote work solved a lot of logistical problems, but it quietly removed the final layer of physical proof that the person on your payroll is a person you have ever actually met. This flowchart illustrates the core structural flaw in corporate defense. Human Resources sees a flawless candidate profile with a clean background check. Meanwhile, on the exact same day, IT logs capture suspicious pings from a known VPN exit node. The breach happens because neither department is currently built to look at the same candidate's data at the exact same time. Closing this gap requires operational changes before technical ones. Companies need to bind corporate devices to verified identities, using live checks during onboarding, not just in the interview. They need to restrict network access by geography and treat any request to change a shipping address after an offer as a severe security event, rather than a logistics quirk. Ultimately, this comes down to a brutal asymmetry. It costs a single operative almost nothing to script 1,000 job applications. It costs a company real time, real friction, and real money to verify every single one of them. Until the cost of verifying candidates drops below the cost of faking them, the safest assumption for any company hiring remote workers is not that this couldn't happen to them. It is that the state has already applied, and the people inside the building would never even notice.